Namaste. Welcome back, beautiful souls. Lovely to have you here. If you're new, hello. My name is Sadhana, and a warm welcome to all of you. This card comparison series carries on comparing the Centennial Waite-Smith tarot to other Waite-Smith inspired decks. And today I have the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant. This is the Kickstarter edition. I don't know if there were changes in the second edition. And I have the second printing of the Superlunaris tarot. Now, these are not tarots I would have thought to put together in a card comparison because one is original acrylic paintings by Lacey Bryant, the Slow Tarot, and the other is a collage deck. And it felt to me a little bit like comparing apples and oranges. However, it was suggested as a comparison by a very loyal follower and tarot student of mine. And so I decided to put the cards on the table and start to have a look. And it's really quite extraordinary how well the two decks talk to each other. So I hope you enjoy this card comparison. I believe you have other commentaries of both the Slow Tarot and the Superlunaris available on my channel, and if I remember, I will link those below in the description box. Love the open-heartedness of the Fool in the Slow Tarot. This is also quite something how Waite-Smith inspired decks have chosen to take the Fool off the cliff. And in the Waite-Smith tarot, the foot still is on the land. The Magician. I love me a good spiritual magician, and this one is quite extraordinary. And what I do see in this card is the branches of the tree almost like energetic lines, and I really find a deep connection with this card. I'm just seeing this now, that there may be a key on a lock on her chest, which would be really interesting. Love that the magic is performed outdoors. Of course, it was in this deck as well, too. And we have this idea of energy and connection of energy in all directions. It's just a lovely, lovely card. There are tattoos on her face as well, too. Lots of little details to find. I almost see a fae being in the background here. And in the Slow Tarot, we have the very powerful symbol of the Ouroboros and also powerful energy lines built through a spider web that is both inside the Ouroboros and also looks like it's extending from the fingers of her right hand. So plenty to work with in these magician cards. The High Priestess. We have towers on each of the cards. We actually have the B. I'm not sure I can see the J on this one. The moon, the new moon, the crescent moon is here. And then we have a full moon. So this High Priestess is standing upon the moon. And one of the things that's really different in this card is that we have female breasts on both the black pillar and the white pillar, which gives a slightly different energy to the pillars, both carrying that nurturing energy. These high priestesses look quite different. The one in the slow is quite frazzled, deep in her work, their work. Love that she stands upon the moon. I know here we have this beautiful watery garment that flows over and beyond the moon. Maybe that being replicated here by this high priestess walking upon the moon. But both of these cards, I think, have, again, these decks are a little bit like a children's Where's Waldo book. You can look into these pictures again and again and find something new and enlightening and quite beautiful. There is a red garment here. There is a river running by, kind of a forlorn face. And I'm not sure if all the little objects are mentioned in the pamphlet. There may be a PDF online as well too. I'm not sure. But it's for me, it's been one of the funnest things working with the slow tarot is to uncover some of the secrets. And I did have correspondences early in my journey with the slow tarot with Lacey Bryant herself. And she said that at one time she was going to write a more extended guidebook. And I'm not sure that that ever came to pass. So the river that's here is here, and we see the waterfall behind here. So but all of these decks are staying very close to the original intention of this deck. Stars in the hair. We have beads in this piece of, maybe even, we do have stars here. A star crown made from natural plant material. There are extra cards in both of these decks, and I will not be discussing those today. I believe in this deck it's the Emperor and the Empress, and the ones you're seeing are the ones that I have chosen to work with. Emperor, Aries. So we are maintaining the red color, the throne, we have powerful village within, like a village town in the mountain, the rams. Very interesting that Waite decided to put, or maybe Pamela Coleman Smith decided to put the emperor forward facing, because that is not a traditional direction for the emperor. Usually the emperor is facing in this direction. I'm talking about Tarot de Marseille. I have not put a magnifying glass up to this photograph. That would be interesting to look at. The emperor is powerful. An initiator carries an abundance of responsibility. And I have, all of these cards I have spoken to so many times in various videos. And the more videos of mine that you watch, the more you will sort of learn how I read, interpret, and work with the many, many layers of the card, be they astrological or numerological or completely intuitive, working with the energy or something coming through on the art, maybe that I haven't connected with in a long, long time. There is a connection in this particular deck. I think it's with the Queen of Swords. This may be an organ in the background. This is a very interesting card with all the birds and this airy energy. This being, of course, a Taurus card if you work with the deck astrologically, because of the birds, and then also the, if that is an organ in the background. This is the card that I purchased Superlunaris for, because I have been here. I have experienced being in the presence of sadhus such as this in old temples or cremation grounds, and I just really felt, I don't know, it was a wonderful memory for me, and I learned so much being in the presence of men like this in India. Notice their hands are painted red, their palms are painted red. So many, many traditions. And I would say that this idea of responsibility with the Hierophant, the idea of knowledge being translated and passed down to the people so they can interpret, receive it, work with the lessons, and so forth, isn't really a part of this culture here. If you ask, you can have conversations, but these are not folks who gather with a crowd to teach. So it is a bit of an unusual energy for a Hierophant card. Lovers. Love this light that's happening here. We have a full moon. This is a great card for connection with the devil. And I love this snake being center and forefront, powerful symbol of transformation. We have a black skin, a white skin, perhaps feminine, perhaps masculine, and lots of symbol to work with in this card. And this is such a beautiful and powerful story that builds in the slow tarot. This burning house we perhaps do see in other cards, and I love the way that this deck carries some of the symbols through from card to card. Chariot, we have water here, so this certainly works with Cancerian energy. And this has been a really fun card. There's all kinds of things hidden in this chariot. Notice how both of these chariots face in the same direction. And it makes me think that both of these creators have worked with Waite-Smith correspondences quite closely, working with the idea of tetragrammaton, Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, fire, water, air, and earth, reading from right to left. And you'll notice how all of these decks face the same direction. Quite a elegant, ornate gown on the woman in the Strength card here. Very different from what's happening here. There's a sense of innocence. We have a carry through of symbology from the Magician card, which works with your reading and following the idea of septenaries. So many things that we can peel through. But I love the red of this dress in its energy of strength and fire, and yet she is so petite and yet commands presence. Love the flowers in the lion's mane. And for a collage deck, I think the unification between the beast and the man is done quite well in that deck. The Hermit. Okay, so both of these are kind of funky cards. All of these roots exposed reminds me a bit of a banyan tree. Roots, there's a connection of the strength above and below. We do see the mountains in the back, which is a nice carry through. That definitely works here. The fact that the hermit is sitting on the roots might help to bring in a really powerful story. The roots are exposed. And I love working with metaphor, and I think this is kind of a fun card. This is also a story of an inward journey. An inward journey. We have 2 candles here, 3 candles here. There's one there, one there. This is the lantern, I suppose. I like to look at these little details to see if there's something I can read or expand into the interpretation of the card. Don't like either of these Wheel of Fortune cards at all. I suppose the blurring kind of symbolizes movement, and this is just such a great card. I feel so this is a disfigured arm, right? Looks like one arm has come off. The shoulder is not attached to the body. We have all of these coins and maybe some powerful connections to the suit of coins, which is not my favorite in this deck. And I wonder if there's other suggestions here as well too that might reveal something quite dark in association with this card. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of expansion. It's Jupiter. It's Guru. And I don't really know why Lacey Bryant would choose what she's got here. Now, one of the things you can do with this deck is to go to the website, which is on the gallery that markets this deck, and go really, really close into the acrylic paintings and look more at more of the detail than you can see on the card. I will link all that down below. Balance. I do like name change for this card. I prefer balance or adjustment to karma. And I think this is a really, really important card to spend time with. We have a maze of sorts here, which is kind of interesting. Justice is facing towards that. The sword is in a non-traditional hand. The small scales are in the other hand, and we've got something kind of, I don't really know what's on the scales, but again, lots of little details that will help to unfold a story. I think this is a bit of a horrific, actually, hanged one, suspended one. I really enjoyed my time studying the Tarot de Marseille and contemplating original meaning of this card as exiled ones, criminals, people who are different, didn't fit into society and were excommunicated in various ways and hung on trees outside of the village where the wildlife was. They were segregated. And there were stories about people who were disfigured, not necessarily people that had performed crimes. And this is a really, I don't know if interesting is the word, but it's a card that's worth looking at its historical context. The idea of sacrifice, space away, it kind of reminds me of 40 Days in the Desert kind of energy. We do have the glow, the light here. And I mean, I think it's so funny. This hanged man is playing Cat's Cradle string game. We have red and blue, so traditional colors, and that is matched here with opposite configuration, right? So white would be equal to the red, and black would be equal to the blue. And the more you read and the more you practice and play with the tarot, the more you study, the more details you will be able to pick up on. Kind of an ethereal looking being here walking through a forest fire. This reminds me just a little bit, perhaps, of the Tower card in Lily White. New growth, new life. And when decks go their own way, the connections are never quite the same as in Pamela Coleman Smith artwork. So we're not usually going to see the woman from Strength in this card. Very seldom do we see a Pope or a Hierophant. Death is kind of all moving in the same direction. This is done very well. The dance of death. Temperance. A lot of layers packed into this particular card. I love the path on the left, the hint to Keter, the fact that temperance is a central path on the tree of life, connection to the irises. We have the Yod He Vav He on the tunic here of the angel. And one of the things I like to do is to look at other decks and see if these kinds of nuances can be picked up on. And if I look at the slow tarot, this is a really funky card, actually. So there's a broken window here, this reflection. Obviously, they're a reflection of each other. They are in the same garment. Their hair is different. There is no food or little food on the left and a lot on the right. What I don't really pick up on in this card are some of the bigger teachings of temperance. Maybe you will find a connection to the Star card. Maybe you will find a connection to the Lovers card. There are a lot of possibilities. And if you look closely here, we do have the sun rising in the same spot in the Superlunaris Devil. Kind of nice with the water reference here to Scorpio. This one feels more connected to Taurus than Scorpio. However, I do see the Scorpio connections. And if you're interested in hearing more of a commentary on this card, be sure to go to my Slow Tarot video. This perhaps is one of the most layered cards in the tarot. And I believe that you will find your way with this card in terms of the healing and the health of your sacral chakra. All of the lessons that connect Scorpio to Capricorn, and your perfect devil card is they're going to be very different than others. The Tower, very modern looking tower. Lacey has some really kind of crazy things going on in this deck. It's very stormy outside. We may have another broken window. We could have anger being expressed, or just simply, I've had enough. But it looks like the tower came to completion. I see a black eye, somebody who's been in a fight, and we get a lot of that in this deck. The status quo cannot remain. We are being disassembled. The Star. I truly love this card. This is pretty beautiful too. One of the interpretations of the Star as a card of cleansing is really important. And then with the sextant here, I love the idea of sight and vision and path. This is not a quiet card by any means, and nor would this be. This river is very noisy, and one of my keywords for the Star card is silence. The silence after the tower. So it's interesting that both these decks have what I would perceive as a noisy star cards. The Moon. Lots of water. We may see the pathway through if you look carefully, or it might be more like a Lenore. Oh, there's a path here, and there's a door. There's a light in the door. But I was thinking maybe this is more like a Lenormand card mountain, where you have to decide if you're going to try to go through or you're going to go around. There's also a light in the doorway here. So multiple paths once you face and you go through your animal instincts. Love the use of the night blooming flowers. Very suitable to be on a beach. And the sun, le sol, le soleil. Very happy sun card, and I get that energy, all of these. Lavender, healing balm. New beginnings. Perhaps there also too is an association with the end of the summer. And if it weren't for diving a little deeper into the tarot through a Tarot de Marseille study, I wouldn't have appreciated the metaphor of the wall that appears in the Waite-Smith deck. And I think that's something that future Waite-Smith inspired deck creators could study a little harder. And then we have this powerful card of transformation and transition. Are you ready to step into this next part of your journey? Are you ready to let go, to peel away a powerful layer and maybe never look back? Once you swallow that red pill, things will never look the same, and you can't unlearn and you can't unsee all that has been revealed. And there is a card in this deck, I believe, that uses a similar metaphor. So maybe I'll put the Judgment card to the side. One of the extra cards in the Slow Tarot is the World card, but I really love the Orrery and this idea of connections, time, passage of time. And I would say that that is quite a non-traditional interpretation for the World card. And this one, the Superlunaris, stays much truer to that. If you're not familiar with the Slow Tarot, the aces are borderless and quite beautiful. This may be the very best card in the whole deck. This wand is really extraordinary and worthwhile taking a magnifying glass to and looking at all the little details on the wand. Love the use of the dandelions. Superlunaris has stayed very true to the Waite-Smith tarot. And I wonder here if this is a hint to the Ace of Cups. I just started looking at this. I had paused the video and I don't know. It may be on some days, and other days it's not, but I appreciate in a collage deck when something comes through that I haven't seen before. And I will be doing some of the more complicated collage decks a little bit later on this year and comparing and contrasting their symbolism as well. The minors in the slow tarot are really complicated. There is a lot that is worthwhile researching, and I have found great fun in doing so. This is a symbol, a Masonic symbol, and you'll find the use of that throughout this deck. Change of direction and facing here, so we're looking at the Two of Wands from a different space. First card of Aries, and then we have this solar decan of Aries in the Three of Wands, loving the red dress, staying true to this. And I have such affection, if that's the right word, for the wands in the slow tarot. I just think they are done so well. Love the golden poppies in the foreground. And this creative use of the Four of Wands in the slow 5 stars, 10 stars, whatever the maximum number of stars is for this one. And you see the parade in the background. First decan of Leo, confrontation. We're moving through some pretty fiery stuff. We've decided to shake things up and to move on. And honestly, this feels like a modern dance to me. And this level of processing is so important at all ages and stages of life. The lacrosse connection here, I think, is so brilliant, and it surprises me that Lacey Bryant is not a Canadian. Love this card. There's a similar card in the Fountain Tarot. I really like that. What the Superlunaris is picking up on for me is that in order to experience the Six of Wands, we will have had to had power over others. We will have had, there will be losers. There may be some who suffered and died. And it's, I don't think it's an easy card. It's not just simply a card of success. This is a brilliant Seven of Wands. Like I said, I think every single wand card in this deck I love. Every single coin card, not so much. Eight of Wands. So this one is staying true to direction. This one is two. We've got the birds moving in one direction. They're each carrying a flaming wand. There's a lack of focus here that I do like to see in an Eight of Wands card. This is a double Mercury card, and I think for that reason, the focus is an important symbol. These wands are coming, while they are aligned, they're moving in a different direction. So we're seeing a different stage of the journey here than we are seeing. This is just the beginning of the launch. And if you have other insights into these cards, please, I really appreciate your comments, your feedback, and all of that, your subscribes. They've both done a great job with staying true to Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork, I think. This is a really powerful card of reflection. Perhaps making the decision to carry on and go forth in the Ten of Wands, to see it through to the end. This home has a long ways to go. And maybe the man in the Ten of Wands is the lover in the lover's card, and he is rebuilding the home that burnt down. Like I said, we can build lots of stories here. We even see the wheat, or the, right, looks like wheat, the grass that we saw in the Empress card, and maybe a touch of it in the lover's card. And this particular 10 of Wands, I feel like it's just what I do every day. And this card reminds me of my first time to Bali, watching women hike down to the river with their large clay urns to get water. And then they would hike back up these steep hills with their water on their head like it was just what they do to get water. That's what this reminds me of. It's just part of the day-to-day grind through Malkut. 10. Saturn. It's intense. It's intense. And yes, I can work with you're doing too much kind of energy. What are you going to let go? Are you carrying your own stuff or carrying somebody else's? Sure, I can do all of that as well too, but I can't offer every interpretation of every card in a video like this, right? Page of Wands. This is wild. This is revolutionary. Not how I would usually interpret Page of Wands, but that feels that way to me more than this Boy Scout kind of energy. You never know what might happen here. What might catch on fire? Knight of Wands. Oh, yes, my favorite Knight of Wands card, maybe of all time. Not the Superlunaris, the slow tarot. They both stayed true to direction. Knight of Cups, Knight of Wands moving to the left. Hopefully, Knight of Cups be moving to the right. I can't remember. The first part of the journey of the Knights. And then we have this vivacious and confident Queen. Certainly get that energy in all of these cards. No big deal that her feet are in a fire. Transformation through fire. And I think it's so funny. I looked through these cards, or this suit only actually briefly, and I thought how similar these two Kings of Wands look. Books. Now, this is so fun. I can't tell you the details of the story, but I remember when I researched, so I input into Google mosaic turquoise mask. And I did this for many of the cards in the Slow Tarot and researched, some of the names of the books and various things, and just couldn't believe the effort, the detail that Lacey Bryant went into in this deck. And unfortunately, because of the suit of coins, I don't use it very often. If you like photo realistic collage, this deck certainly stays very close to the Waite-Smith tarot. And this for me is really unusual. Here, I don't see two people. I see a mirror, a woman looking at herself. And this is something that I often work with in the Lover's card. And I can't say that I've ever used that analogy in a Two of Cups. And this is the card that I was thinking has similar vibe to the Judgment card in the Slow Tarot. I wonder if the rod of Asclepius is hidden in here in a tattoo or something. It might be a tattoo on his neck there. Three of Cups. Maybe a connection to Cancer, the sign of Cancer at the beach. And then here's another lunar decan. It's just a bit too much. So Cancer, ruled by lunar, ruled by the moon, and this is a lunar decan as well. So this is maybe just a little too much left nostril breathing, if you know what that means. And if you don't, watch some of my yoga videos. Sometimes we just can't process, we can't feel one more thing. And I really feel that in these two Four of Cups. Don't you feel the anguish of this poor child? And so many little details, right? There's an open door that we can see reflected in the window. We can see the light coming through in this other alcove in the room. Love all the little things we can look at here. And this one does such a good job of replicating the Waite-Smith energy. However, this figure is sitting on something. This is standing, and I'd say that's the only nuance. This is another card worth studying in great detail. And for those of you that have never done deep decanic study, I do have a course called Tarot Foundations 2. And this is a sort of taking your tarot reading to the next level and building in more astrological correspondences with the Waite-Smith and Waite-Smith inspired decks. Beautifully done here, staying very true to the energy of the Waite-Smith deck. Does the elephant appear in any other cards in the Slow Tarot? I think you could write a PhD thesis on this deck. Seven of Cups. This figure's not in silhouette. I really do get a powerful Venusian energy in this card. All the green colors, and it almost feels like, I don't know, the early morning after the festival kind of thing. This one feels almost, I was going to say Plutonian, but highly transformational. This is the card where the Knight of Wands begins their journey, taking us out of the depths of Scorpio into Sagittarius. Eight of Cups for Decan of Pisces. I love the teacups actually in this deck. I wish I had space and more cupboards where I live to have. Actually, I don't even know if I still have my teacup collection. I had many, many of them from grandmothers and mother and different people. I did okay. I am content. This is great, you know. I often speak to positions. I mean, he's looking to his 3 of Cups. He's okay that he hasn't finished the wall or repaired the wall. I don't know, this is great. There's a sadness here. You see, this is middle decan of Pisces. It is a Jupiter decan. Jupiter is one of the rulers of Pisces. This should be a card of happiness. And is she content? The doors are closed. She's not even having a cup of tea from one of those beautiful cups. And the last card of the astrological wheel. Do we get a sense of closure? You know, and when I say that, I'm thinking they indeed are moving. There's no moving truck in this picture. I think that would kind of make this, or maybe they're moving in. Maybe this was the house that was repaired and rebuilt in the Ten of Wands. I mean, there's all kinds of stories you can make, right? And there's no connection to the Tower card and stuff like that. So when you work with a Waite-Smith inspired deck, I think at some time, at some level, it would be worthwhile going back to one of these decks and study to see what's missing, or to do sort of what I'm doing right now and looking at how the creator has picked up on those teachings. Okay, so Knight of Cups. Lacey has this horse, hippocampus, coming towards us, and the knight looking back. And I can't knock this card because of the many, 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 many layers of symbology in this card. This is a crazy powerful card for that. The play on hippocampus, the fact that this is a Pisces card. This is a card worth studying. But I like that the Knight of Cups, the direction is staying true in the Superlunaris. Knight of Cups and Knight of Wands move towards each other. This is your Grail journey. What is it you desire? What is your greatest deep wish, desire? If you could marry your divinity with your three-dimensionality, what would it look like and what would you change? This Queen of Cups is just a little too cheerful for me and overdone. Love this one. This card is one that needs a lot of conversation, and I believe I have it addressed it in comments or video. The King of Cups I see as a Scorpio card. And the King of Cups, as ruler of Scorpio, as a court card for Scorpio, has seen it all, been through it all, and he is still afloat atop all of the muck, helping people through their journeys, guiding and mentoring people. And so I get this card, certainly do. And you may see the King of Cups as having a relationship with Pisces, hence the fish on the chain. But you know, the kings and the queens and the knights, you can work with all of them with all of their sign, Scorpio or Cancer or Pisces. Ace of Swords, left hand, right hand. So this is a switch. Something I always look at. What hand is the sword held in? It speaks volumes. This heart may be alluding to the Three of Swords. Gorgeous costuming in this one. I mean, if we're going to read this card as it appears, I think you're going to lose something. If you're reading this as aspects of myself, then maybe for me this little high priestess energy is kind of missing. And then we have the loss card, the grief card, the pain of learning, the pain of growing. It's quite a beautiful card. You can see feel the anguish. And then we restore. And this is another one where I think you could make quite a interesting story here. We find a place outside of the bombed city to heal and to grow. And we have new growth here. And this one stays truer to the Waite-Smith tarot. Speak your truth or forever hold your peace. Interesting that the light is behind her, right? You can see the light ahead, the lighthouse ahead. But she's on, this is the smooth water side, and she's moving towards the smooth water. Pretty choppy water in all directions in the slow tarot. Okay, so this person is looking back. This person is looking back. So that's kind of true to the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork. White cat maybe for the lunar energy. White flowers maybe for the lunar energy. So that's kind of good. This one sitting on the train tracks is wow. So pay attention to what this one's connecting to in a reading. And a circle has been drawn here. I also, in this suit, want to pay attention to the birds because there's a lot of birds, and that might help to reveal the story. This is a cool card. You can see sort of an enlightened energy coming through. The black horse maybe carrying away the nightmare, carrying away the anguish, the pain, the hidden. And the swords are all going in different directions. This one, the hilts are on the left. This is the same as this one. This is overdone. I don't know why Lacey did this way. The perspective is kind of interesting from the floor and looking up at the birds. What are the birds saying? Why have the birds come into the house? Again, I want to pay attention to the birds in this deck for sure in a reading. I have used this deck a lot. I've done a lot of readings with it. Superlunaris and I just haven't had a great connection. I'm not one for photorealism. It's just not my thing. I have the texture. There's lots of decks I have actually, or I used to have, but it's just not the kind of art that I love. She's great. Page of Swords. And I appreciate this one as well too. With doing such a good job with the directions and the facings for the other nights. I'm not sure why this night is facing the other way. They are wearing white, which says something kind of important. And we have an ocean in the background. This one looks like death. And you will have the perfect deck in hand for the reading that you are doing. I was talking about this connecting. This is what I think looks like could connect to the Hierophant card, though she is the Queen of Libra, the Queen of Wisdom. And again, we've got all kinds of funky stuff going on with facings in this Queen of Swords. But I do love this idea of butterflies here, strong energy with the red clothing. And then she turns her face, right? So we don't just see the right side here. We're seeing the front of the face, and the body's moving in a different direction, revealing the left side of the Queen of Swords. And she is holding the sword in her right hand, as is this Queen of Swords and this Queen of Swords. So that is the same in all three cards. Love this King of Swords. Wisdom, right? So much wisdom. Usually I see the King of Swords as someone with almost no social graces. Kind of feeling that here. This is interesting. I wonder if he regrets this transition from knight to king. And look at all this light energy here. That's cool. This reminds me of a court card from Stacia Barrington's deck. Sasrabito. Ace of Coins. Okay, I'm not going to say too much about this suit. I don't like it at all. I understand coins as being this material world, Malkut, and all the things as humans that we do wrong here. This is the ace is fine. And I have answered many of your questions regarding some cards in, actually, I don't mind this one so much, in the slow tarot, in the suit of coins, because there's some odd stuff that's going on. So instead of the ocean in the background, we have a bathtub. And instead of the lemniscate, we have an 8 on the shirt. And that's all really interesting. This deck also does this idea of, things that are slightly revealed. The bathtub is overflowing. So the energy is kind of different in this one with all that excessive water. Remember that 2 of Pentacles is a card that comes up at winter solstice. It's got a powerful connection to the Wheel card, and I want to see that connection in a deck. Something here is different in that we see the background. We see what's going on behind the scenes, which I think is maybe an important secret of the Waite-Smith tarot. And this stained glass window, is it a gift to this person? We've got some tools down here. So have they worked together? Is this payment for something? And if you look closely here, we're going to see this wall in another card. 3 of Coins. And this is one of the dark and twisty cards. I get the insular energy, 4s as prisons, 4 of Coins. So this is Capricorn, Devil, and poker, gambling as being connected to that. For sure, I get that. It is a solar energy, this decan, and there's no hint of it in this card. And if you look carefully at the chain around her neck, there may be something that might be the bauble of her earring. Like I said, it's really worthwhile getting a magnifying glass with the slow, and any cards that you find yourself questioning to spend more time with. Love the view here, this top-down view, the glass, broken stained glass, or the glare from the stained glass. A time of powerful transition. I'm not sure that I've had a reading where the Libra cards, Justice, this card and the 10 of Pentacles have all come up in a reading, because there's also scales in the 10 of Pentacles in the Waite-Smith Tarot. We have silver and gold. There's a heart here. And 6 being the Sephira of Tiferet, the heart chakra, place of balance and harmony. And then we move away from that. So this one's picking up on the Venusian energy. You know, we get kind of lost. This card having a connection to the 7 of Cups, the 2 receptive 7s. And I did a detailed reply. If you go to my Slow Tarot video, there's somebody asked a question about this card, and I did a very detailed reply about this card, so you can look there for more information. I think one of the most important questions in the 7 of Coins is, do we have the discipline to walk away, to let things be? And I think that's an important question in a game of poker. This one, I don't think gets it right, because I see 8 of Pentacles as a very personal space where we, and I understand that this one is having a conversation with the 3 of Coins. I get that. But the 8 of Coins for me is a card where we find ourselves, and has more of a connection with the 8 of Cups, the receptive 8. And here we go. So here's these paintings, that wall I was talking about. And this is a card with lots and lots going on. And she is inside, which kind of captures the same energy as being in this protected garden. Not sure if the bird is in this picture. I'm not sure that I've had a good look for it. Oh, I guess, yeah, I guess it's here. Are the scales in this one and this one? This one speaks volumes. It really connects to the King of Coins, all the stuff in this card. And I think there's something going on here with the Ace of Coins as well. The snake is gold. Is the snake about to molt? Is there anything here pointing to Mercury? Look at the time. Is the time significant? Do have, so the coins are rather scattered in this one, but we do have a tree, sacred tree here. And no, I don't see scales. I do like the Page of Coins and her lemonade stand. That's something I did as a kid with my brother or one of my friends in the summer, end of the summer. And kind of surprising that neither of these decks pick up on the earth-centric tendencies of the Page of Pentacles, or the potential for that. The Knight of Coins has a vehicle, a car rather than a horse. I think they're both fine. Lovely fabric on the dress. So we're kind of shifting out directions here. This one feels like Las Vegas, and I really don't like this card, because she is the queen of, well, she's the queen of the holidays, so maybe, but it's just so material. It's funny, right? So she is so happy and he is so depressed. He's locked away in his attic. I don't know where she is. I just find both of these cards really, really difficult. There's so many beautiful ways to read the Queen and the King of Pentacles. And the kind of people who would need to see this sort of a King of Coins don't usually come for readings. We do see a skylight. There is hope. And there's that snake right there. So let me know if you have any observations or comments. If you read with or work with either of these decks regularly, if there's any cards that trouble you for interpretation, I'm happy to come back and answer those questions at a later date. So be sure to leave a comment below, and thank you for your subscribes. And be sure to click the notification bell if this video resonated with you. Take good care of yourselves. Namaste.